And welcome back to the Constitutionalist Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Not a good day, guys, but let's keep pushing forward. I think I used those lines this morning. Texted it to somebody. Any Hoosers, I'm watching this couple that is having if you're watching the video, again, I am back in the car. But I'm watching this couple that just drove down the street. I'm not going to say which street I'm on. And they are driving as slow as possible. They're obviously looking for someplace, but they can't make it. I don't think. But they drove it. They were in front of me, and then they just turned down this way. Citadel sticker on the back. They look like parents, older white people. So that means that one of their children goes to the Citadel College here in Atlanta, Georgia. I think it's in Atlanta. Who knows? Who cares? Let's get to it. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff to go through today. I don't even think I said that, but we got a lot of stuff to go through today. Okay, so listen, I really don't want to timestamp this. I don't want to make a mention of news that happens immediately, but this is a big story, and I do think it's very important that I talk about it. Me of all people. I think it's important that I talk about it. Stop screaming, Chad. Oh my God, these people are having such issues navigating these streets. All right, so there's an actor on Empire named Jussie Smollett. That's his name. Great actor, great singer, and if you haven't paid attention the past week and a half, he said that he was assaulted in late January. Very sad story. He said it was a racial profile thing, and that these people attacked him, and they said this is MAGA country. I received a text message, and all this stuff. So obviously being he's a gay black man, and being a black man myself, I find it, I have to side with him, as with most people. So as with most people. Okay. All right, so this morning he was arrested for lying about that assault. What happened was basically this. There's a timeline that the Wrap put together, that Jennifer Moss at the Wrap put together, how police busted Jussie Smollett. And we still don't know. This is apparently his case went to a grand jury yesterday, and they said he was guilty. They said this guy's a lying McLiarson. Which led to this arrest, which led to Chicago PD did all they could. And what's worse is that I was listening to an episode of Never Not Funny this morning. The host, Jimmy Pardo, he weighed in on the topic, and he's a very liberal guy, and he's from Chicago, and he said the area of Chicago that this happened is not a part of Chicago that it would have happened in. So Jussie basically lied. But there's a timeline up. So it's going from, this is all from Commander of Area Central Detectives Edward Wodnicki. He said Thursday morning that the two offenders, there's a full-scale investigation that went in, and it was looking into it as a hate crime. He said the two offenders, the brothers that Jussie worked with on Empire for a hot second. One of them was a trainer, I believe. His trainer, I believe. There's a whole thing. Apparently, Chicago PD said they have a $3,500 check from Jussie that paid the partners to fake the whole thing. Now, apparently, apparently this all started because Jussie wanted, and this is in this report, this police report, and then it's in the Wrap article. Jussie wanted more pay for Empire, and he's apparently sent a letter with cut up, how they used to, kidnappings used to happen. Kidnappers used to cut up magazine letters and stuff, and then they just glue each different letter, different size, different color letter, and then send it out. That's essentially what they did. That's exactly what they did, actually. And they sent a racist letter to Jussie, and by they I mean Jussie and his partners. They sent this racist letter to himself, and then that was it. And that was supposed to be hey, this is scary. Take it seriously, Empire crew, staff and crew. And apparently no one did, and that was a whole issue. But yeah, so this is what Nikki said. We located approximately 35 of our Chicago police pod cameras in the area, and in the areas that we determined, these two persons of interest fled. Basically, what they did was they looked at all the cameras around in the area, found out where the two brothers went, and this is how they captured the two brothers, and made them suspects. Persons of interest, rather. Then the brothers went to a cab, and then that was the end of that. And they talked to the cab company, and then went to the brother's house. I think they got like a bunch of warrants, and I don't want to say the number. I think they got like 20 warrants or something like that. They got a whole bunch of warrants. Went inside, and this is after 47 hours of them being in custody. That's crazy. And they told the story. They documented everything, and they caught him. They went to the apartment, saw all these cut up. Magazines. Why do you still have the magazines? They have the receipts for the rope and all this. It's crazy. It's a very crazy thing. I urge you to read into it because it's stupid. It's dumb. I can't believe we fell for this. And then what if, like, I was talking to a friend and she said, what if he's not lying? And I said, I know. What if he's not lying? What if he's not lying? And this is just all coincidence. But what if he is lying? It really sucks that this all happened. But I urge you to read it. They have the check. And then they're going to get $500 upon return. I don't know what that means. But now he's in jail. Now he's in police custody. I don't want to say jail. So check it out. It's a very interesting timeline, and it just gets crazier and crazier from there. Okay, so moving on. Let's talk about the Oscars for a second. Oscars are coming on Sunday, this coming Sunday. And I don't think I'm going to talk about, barring anything major happening at the Oscars on Sunday, I don't think I'm going to talk about them next week. So, and you know my feelings. I think Green Book, I don't think I've ever talked about this. The more I hear about Green Book, the less I want to see it, A. And B, the less I think it should be nominated for Best Picture. There are movies, it's like when I was listening to a podcast this morning talking about, I hope you can hear the workers that are working next to me. There's a guy working on his house, they're like sanding and power washing the stairs to his outside deck. And now there's a city worker, or what looks like, a City of Atlanta worker digging in the dirt with some type of long pole. He's not digging with a shovel. He's digging with a long metal pole. But what sucks is, so I'm not going to talk about I'm probably not going to talk about this, but I don't. But I think so. I was listening to a podcast this morning. I got way off track. So I was listening to a podcast this morning talking about the Oscars, and they were talking about the movies that were nominated for Best Picture, all this stuff. Basically saying, now there's a man on his porch. He's like, why is there a truck parked in front of my house? Why is there a guy in his Chevy Volt looking at me? And why is that guy digging in the ground? With a metal pole. And he's just sitting there drinking coffee out of a mug. Any hooser. Oh, he's going back inside. Any hoosers. This is all crazy. Why am I even doing this anymore? Any hoosers. This car has driven around 3 times already. This Nissan Altima. Any hoosers. And here's the conclusion I came to with this Green Book fiasco. The family of the black guy that Mahershala Ali was portraying in the movie, they don't agree with. They say that entire movie is wrong. Nothing is right in this movie, and I'm not inclined to believe them, but I would rather side with them because I don't want to see this Lifetime movie that was made by a director that I think is fairly competent at what he does. And his last name is Fairley, so it's Peter Fairley. He's very good at what he does. I think he's a good director. And then we come out with a movie like this. But Green Book should not be nominated for best. I think it's because these Academy voters, which the Academy is maybe like 2,000-3,000 people big now, strong, 2,000-3,000 people strong, and so we have all these people. Of course, they let in since the quote unquote Oscars So White scandal quote unquote again from 2015. They let in this class of, and I've done a news time on this, so definitely check it out. I think I've done like 2 or 3 news times on it, but around this time, actually, a lot of this is around this time. But they let in all these new people, and these new people are people of color and women. They're trying to differentiate themselves. And it turns out, just check the stopwatch. And it turns, and then now all these people are like, okay, well, we don't want to have another Oscars So White fiasco again. Let's just nominate many of the now oncoming onslaught of movies with people of color and women. And that's where for Emmys and Golden Globes, that's where all these new shows prior to the Emmys, all these new shows and movies are getting greenlit because obviously the studios are like, okay, well, yeah, we do need people of color, women, but then we have all these new shows and movies getting that have been greenlit, and then they're just being upheld because they're movies and shows with people of color and women. Case in point, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. A show that's only about white people and women empowerment, and people love it. I mean, it's a good show, but we just think, or Black Panther. Black Panther being nominated for a Best Picture nomination because people in the Academy feel it has to be there, but it doesn't, because again, it's a superhero movie. Same thing for Green Book. There are movies that are nominated that should be nominated, then there are movies that shouldn't. We're just nominating ones because we feel they have. Well, the voters feel they have to be there. If I was an Academy voter, I would definitely tell you if I was, but I'm not. So that's where we have movies like Roma, which is a beautifully orchestrated film, and I think it should be nominated. But then again, if this was 4 years ago, would it be nominated at this point? It's almost as if this is like a placebo effect where we have all these movies that are nominated and we don't know if they should be because the white voters are feeling some type of way because they're like, well, maybe we should give everybody a chance. I'm not saying that they felt that way, but they're just better movies that should be nominated. Blind Spotting, Sorry to Bother You. I'm going to keep naming movies. There's one more. Black Klansman is great. It's nominated, but I don't think it's going to get its due because it's sitting up there with the upper echelon of a popcorn movie and a Lifetime film. And then, of course, you got The Favor and Roma and then all the other ones. So that's my 2 cents. I thought about that. Now that I just think that people feel guilty. And now the Oscars are in this thing. They said that they weren't going to air a bunch of awards because they're trying to keep everything down. They don't have a host. They don't want to air all the awards, but then they're not tricked. They are yelled at into airing all of these awards at once, and which is good, which is great. I just think that is I think that's perfect. They shouldn't renege on. I mean, I'm sorry, not renege. They shouldn't have not tried to air awards in the first place. Oh, now here comes the homeowner, and he's looking at cable. This must be a new development. This house, it's a great house. I hope nobody looks into this car right now and sees a guy talking on his phone on this microphone. It's a phone. Hello. For those not watching the video, which is all of you, I pretended that the microphone was a phone. So the Oscars said they weren't going to air all the awards, and then Quentin Tarantino and I think Scorsese and Spike Lee, they all got together and wrote this letter, or better yet, someone wrote this letter on behalf of them. And now they're gonna air all the awards that weren't gonna be aired, like cinematography, film editing, live action shorts, and makeup and hairstyling. They're going to be presented. This is from the Hollywood Reporter, Carolyn Giardina. That's a great name. That's a great name. They have the whole letter. That comes from America's Cinema Editors, International Cinematographers Guild, Local 600, Motion Picture Guilds, Editors Guild, Local 700, IATSE, and Cinematography Festival Camerage. At press time, ASC and the California IATSC Council released new statements. You can go read the letters yourself. It's a whole thing. But the filmmakers, they like I said, they wrote a letter. Academy reneged. Moving on, same thing from the Oscars. The latest, this is from the AV Club, written by Shannon Miller. The latest to get booted from the Oscars ceremony, all those non-famous people. I swear, that guy's going to come over here. Hey, you can't do that here. Or he's going to invite me in and say, hey, do you want to record inside my house? I'm like, yes, sir. We become great friends. And he gives me money. And he becomes my sugar daddy. Okay, I'll stop talking. All right, so Oscars can't get rid of awards. What do they do next? They say we're going to get rid they get rid of the host. They also say we're going to get rid of the regular people. That's true. Yes. You know how Kimmel, when he hosted, he had vignettes with regular people on the street saying, did you watch the Oscars last night? Even though the Oscars hadn't aired, and then they say something stupid. Yeah. So they do that kind of thing. And God, that guy is a young man and he's driving a Tesla. Oh, Jesus. What am I doing with my life? Sitting in a car recording a podcast no one listens to. So they're going to get rid of the regular people segments. They're going to get rid of the stuff where you see regular people. They don't care. If you're not, I'm not kidding. This is what they said. If you're not famous, if you're not anybody, then they're going to get rid of it. This is from lead producer Donna Gigliotti. That's a great last name. Shannon Miller from AV Club writes that, is that her name? Yeah. She writes that Gigliotti wants you to know that it's not that she has anything against non-famous people. In fact, some of her favorite people are not famous people. That's very funny. That's a very snappy way of writing. This is from Gigliotti. I love everyday people. I ride the subway with them every day in New York. Everyday people don't get me ratings, which is kind of a douchey way to say that they don't matter and we're not gonna air anything like that. So there we go. That's it. They're not gonna air regular people. Listen, I want to take a real quick break. When I come back, we're going to talk about Jennifer Salk. Amazon's Jennifer Salk. I think she's the president. And some stuff that they have lined up. Amazon has lined up to best Netflix in the coming year and movies. Okay, we'll be back. And we're back. Welcome back to the second half of this show. I spent a full minute in silence listening to this conversation outside of my door and answering text messages. I hope I leave it in. I really do. Okay, long pause. Sorry. I just swallowed there as the longest pause in my life. Okay, so last week was Sundance. Jennifer Salk and Amazon, they bought a slew of movies. I think they spent the most out of any studio. They spent the most money out of any studio, which makes sense because I think they have the most out of any studio. But that's all because of Jeff Bezos and his billions. Like they went to Daddy Bezos is what I was gonna say. I stopped myself. I was like, no. But I'm saying anyway. They went to Daddy Bezos and said, please, can we have some money to buy some movies? And then Daddy Bezos was like, okay, you can have some money to buy some movies, but you gotta do your homework first. It's hot in this car. Jesus. Okay. I'm losing my mind. I want to go home and eat. I want to go home and I'm eat. Amazon Studios spent $47 million on a bunch of movies. And I think, 5 films. $47 million on 5 different films. And I will read out to you what those films are. They spent $13 million on Late Night, which is, I think, Mindy Kaling. It's written by Mindy Kaling and starring her as well. And I think it also stars Kate Blanchett. Don't quote me on that. Within a matter of days, Amazon bought Britney Runs a Marathon for $14 million for world rights. Late Night was bought for $13 million for U.S. rights, making it the highest U.S. rights purchased film. The only highest U.S. distributed film purchase in history. $13 million. A lot. They set a record. There we go. The Report for $14 million for dollars for world rights, Honey Boy for $5 million, and One Child Nation, which you can guess is about $3 or $4 million. I did the math. Now I'm getting this information from Deadline and the Hollywood Reporter, the Deadline article. They're both interviews with Jennifer Salk. One of them, I don't want to crap on one of these, one of the people that conducted the interviews, but one of them is a better interview. I'll tell you which one. The Deadline one. It's by Mike Fleming Jr. and it's called Jennifer Salk on Amazon's film future, Sundance deals, and the late night selfie that won her Britney runs a marathon. And then the other interview is from the Hollywood Reporter, like I said, and it's from Rebecca Keegan. Amazon chief Jennifer Salk unveils film plan to battle Netflix, 30 movies a year, Q&A. Which is true. So Amazon has about 15 movies in their lineup right now, and they have an 8-movie deal with Jason Blum, who's the horror guy. He's the horror producer, and they have a couple of. So that means they have what is that? I said 15 movies plus 8. That's what 20. Jesus, 3, 4, something like that coming out. Roughly 30 films annually, and they're going to continue. So with the Jason Blum ones, if you'd notice, they with their last movies, Beautiful Boy, and this newest one with Nicole Kidman, Cold Danger or something like that, Cold War. They're in theaters for a little bit, and then there's like a 3-month window, and then they are released on Amazon. So Salk essentially in both these interviews, she said that there's a car coming, there's a car trying to pull out. It's very scary here. She said that there's going to be different release windows now for these shows and for the movies, excuse me. There's going to be different release windows and all these things, and they're just going to be distributing movies a little bit differently. Netflix traditionally, which is why people like the Cannes Film Festival was mad at them, or traditional moviegoers are mad at that. Well, people who really care about movies, people like me, people who are losers, people who are losers, and don't really have lives. I'm just kidding. I'm the coolest boy in town. Talk to my new friends outside here. They really only care about that. So let's look over. I want to pick out a couple of the questions and the answers that have really stood out to me. This introduction, the prelude to the interview, the Deadline version, is really good. Really good. Apparently, so Roma is a Netflix film. Apparently, within this interview, I learned that Roma had been shopped. Roma is one of the biggest movies of this movie season, and it had been shopped to Amazon. And she said that Salk is sad that they weren't able to land it. All right, so let's move on in. They talked about Woody Allen. Nope, let's skip over that. We already had our sad talk at the top of this episode. So, like she mentioned that they're doing the 12 to 15 movies per year already, in addition to direct-to-service strategy. So that means, like I said, the Jason Blum thing, Cold War. Nicole Kidman's going to start doing what Jennifer Salk calls sexy date night movies like Cruel Intentions and Basic Instinct. So expect more movies of that nature coming out in the coming days. Let's see. The films they bought at Sundance are expected to get traditional theatrical releases. So we're going to see the movies that they bought, the movies that they spent $50 million on, released in the theaters for a period of time. She says that Amazon is going to continue to be aggressive at Sundance and festivals in order to procure movies. That's a giant truck that just drove by. All these big cars. Now they're looking. Oh, he's calling somebody. They found something in the ground. And okay, so anyway, let's see. Let's look at these acquisitions. Late Night was the first big deal from the festival. She talks about her relationship with Mindy Kaling, and how the goals are different for Prime. Let's see. I had quotes. I should have written down the quotes that I really wanted to pull. And they go through all the movies that they bought. It's a very interesting talk, very interesting chat. They talk about why she chose a movie that stars Shia LaBeouf. What Viola Davis is going to do next with them. So many different things. It's a great set of interviews. Like I said, the Deadline one is loads better. Is a loads better. And they have these movies coming out. It's gonna be great. Listen, I should have written down the quotes. I really wish I had the quotes. And I was like, no, I look like an idiot. I look like a jerk for this. He's grabbed a plate. He's running back across the street. Oh, he's just gonna put a metal plate over it. So this is cable. I think they're doing cable for this guy. Does this matter? Oh, one thing she also talked about was the movie Life Itself. So what they did was they bought this movie, Oscar Isaac, Olivia Wilde, and they were going to release it in theaters. I think it didn't perform well with test audiences, so they pulled it from theaters. Turns out they were right, because the media beat it up and it just didn't score well. I think, like I said, I said this before, aggregations don't matter. Aggregate movie review websites don't matter, but it got a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. It just did not perform well. But Amazon spent $47 million in contrast to Netflix, which spent $22 million, and New Line, which bought, I think, one movie. Oh, this is total. This is a chart on the Hollywood Reporter Sundance spending spree. Amazon has spent far more than anyone at this festival this year. Yeah, so this is today of this year. Netflix bought Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Vile, and Shockingly Evil and Vile. Oh, I remember that movie. Knock Down the House and American Factory, while Amazon bought 5 whole movies. It's very interesting to see these how aggressive these movie studios are getting, especially something like Amazon, which the Prime Video thing I don't think is performing as well as something like a Hulu or something, especially as a Netflix. But they're not exactly, even though whenever someone mentions major Netflix competitor, it's never Hulu, it's always Amazon. I don't think you can sit down and say that Amazon can go tit for tat with Netflix, which is the number one, which is why I would bring it up. It's very interesting. But I do think that Amazon has what it takes, because she talked about the Lord of the Rings series that's coming out soon. They have the writers room is working on it now, which I can only imagine is like 5 white guys, and this is very true. This is what she said, so I assume it to be true. They're locked in a room, and you have to use your fingerprint to get in there. There's a guard outside the room. The windows are taped shut, and it's very secretive. So it's going to be interesting to see what this Lord of the Rings TV show is going to look like. I would be they spent a lot of money on that. They spent a lot of money in these movies. None of these streaming services are in the green, except for, including movies, TV shows, and music, with the exception of Spotify, which is now currently in the green for a hot second. We'll see what happens. But, compared to the new prestige players, which include Apple coming out within the next couple of months and Disney coming out soon, it's going to be interesting to see what Amazon is able to cobble together in terms of when Salk mentioned in one of these interviews that she came from television. So she said that what she was looking for on television is what is this show? What is it getting me? Is it getting me ratings? Then we will keep the show and we will make it live long. But now that she's on Amazon and Amazon Prime and Amazon Video, whatever they're calling it, then she's looking for something that's not that. I think I just closed. Okay. Hold on. Let me see. She's looking for, it was advertising dollars, and you can tell when it's selling. And then the TV was whatever you can sell on Netflix. Here, she says, it's basically, this is from the Hollywood Reporter interview, how are you enhancing Prime membership, and how are you bringing new subscribers to Prime? So that would be if they had The Man in the High Castle. That show is ending with season 4 this coming year, this coming television season, the 2019-2020 television season. So that show is, it gets positive reviews. I assume it gets decent ratings, and it's one of their prestige shows, one of the most talked about shows on the service. That and Goliath, I think, the Billy Bob Thornton show. What else? I can't name many. ABC Murders I want to see. I watched one episode of, what is it called? Electric City? Philip K. Dick's Electric City or something like that. But yeah, there we go. So check out both those interviews. They offer something, new things, and you know, she talks about the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez documentary that they were gonna buy, and then they pulled out. Amazon as a company pulled out of their New York headquarters after Alexandria Ocasio and a bunch of other people were smack talking them, saying, "Hey, it's gonna be bad for the city." which might have been true, but there you go, and how awkward that was. Anyway, check it out; they're good. Listen, I'm gonna go home. I'm tired. Hey, listen, if you like what you heard here, why don't you head on over to the website cpluscomedy.com, where there's interviews. Sometimes, I don't know. People keep saying no to me. I had one no, and I haven't asked anybody since. Don't worry, I'm gonna make a call as soon as I get home. And then so we got that. And then also head on over to youtube.com/C+comedy to see a video version of this podcast, as well as News Time, which is the premiere show for C+ Comedy. It's a news show. Check it out. I don't really care. It's an entertainment news show. It's great. I love it. And this week's episode is it's about the All-Star Game and how it changed in the past couple of years for the better. So check it out. I wear a jersey, show off my arms. This is the douchiest thing I've ever said. Check it out. Subscribe to us on Instagram and Twitter at C+Comedy. Same thing for me, Instagram, Twitter at Chad Black White. Like us on Facebook. This has been fun, but I gotta go. Okay. Thanks for listening. Bye.